everyone, and welcome back to another video here on Sam's Crafty Castle. And today we have one of those videos that turned out completely different than it was supposed to, but in the end I think it actually worked out for the best. I am going to apologize. You guys are in a weird spot. My computer is still being obnoxious, and so you're going to hear it make some weird noises. I'm doing this because it was behaving, and now that I've started filming, it has decided to not behave, because that's just how these things go. So I'm starting with a old retired stamp set from Gina Designs. This one is called Mayflowers. This is the same stamp set I used in last week's video. We're just using a different stamp out of it. And originally I was going to use a different stamp set for this card, and it was going to be a mini slimline card. Except I could not find the stamp set that I was going to use. I don't know where it is. I don't know what I did with it. So I was looking at this one, and I saw this sort of long flower, and I was going to do another sort of, if you saw, I think it was last year, I did one with some poppies that is from the same series as this, but I can't remember the name of the stamp set right now. But I was going to do something similar to that again, but this one was a little bit too small for that to look good on the mini slimline. It was a little too short. But then I was like, you know what, though? It would be a really, really gorgeous, like, clean and simple birthday card on a regular A2 size card. So that's where I went. I kind of ran with that direction. It's also been a while since I've done, like, anything coloring sort of related. And I was in the mood to get out my color pencils and try some stuff. And this is fun because these flowers are white. I don't know what kind of flowers they are. I'm not good at flowers, as I like to say. Every flower is just a flower except for daisies and roses in my brain. Daisies and roses are really the only flowers that I can very readily identify. And every other flower is just a flower, for the most part. Sometimes I can tell you what they are, but most of the time I cannot. I don't know what kind of flowers these are, but in my brain they were white. And coloring with white is always kind of fun. And then, on a very weird impulse from me, I also decided to do it as a no-line coloring. I don't usually do much no-line coloring. That's not my jam usually. I like being able to see the lines. I like the definition that the lines give. I also like that sometimes the lines fill in details for me that I don't have to color in. Because if you're doing a no-line coloring, you're going to lose any of the details that come from the ink. So, like, in these flowers, I bet you're not going to be able to see it. Oh, you can kind of see it. There's little lines in the flowers that kind of show you where the petals are for the flowers. And I kind of lose those a little bit. If I'm being entirely honest, in the coloring, I lose those little details. So if you don't do a no-line coloring and stamp everything in black ink, then, or a dark color ink, I mean, it doesn't really have to be black, you don't lose those details. You don't have to draw them back in yourself. In these cases, I mean, like, I could have taken, like, honestly, a little black pencil or something and drawn them back in if I wanted to, but I also felt like in the end they didn't need to be there. I didn't miss them that much. So I decided it was okay on this one. It just depends on what you want to do. And I wanted to do sort of a, like, yellow to white fade out. Would you still use ombre in that situation, or does ombre only mean, like, one color? I'm not sure. But I wanted it to sort of fade out from, on each flower, from, like, an orange to a yellow to a white. And I do have the colors I use listed down in the description below. And I will also say, before I forget, I did stamp this in Gina Designs Whisper ink, which is a very, very nice color for if you are going to get into no-line coloring. Barely There is also another good one. I tend to gravitate towards the gray more than the sort of tan of Barely There if I'm going to do it. But then again, I have a friend who no longer really does card making stuff that often, but she liked Barely There better. She liked that color. So, I mean, it's all personal preference. I've also learned / been told / have previously, when I was learning how to do no-line coloring, I would often do it with brown because it's like a step down from black. It's a little bit lighter your lines blend in a little bit more, but you don't lose them entirely. Like, by the time this is done, those whisper lines are not going to exist. And like, whisper was also my choice here because I was doing white, so I needed a color that was going to sort of disappear into the white. So, but yeah, like, that's the hardest part of no line coloring. And this was one of those times where, like, I like to remind people that, like, card making, like anything, you get better with time. You're not, like, really good at it right from the start. You have to, like, build on it and grow. And I started making cards when I was a teenager. So I've been at this for, like, a solid 20-ish years, on and off. I did not do it forever. But that being said, we're coming up soon on the 10-year anniversary of this YouTube channel. So, like, I have been doing this for a very long time at this point. And you don't learn everything overnight. So, I can really see in this, like, I used to not really like doing no line coloring. I never thought it worked well for me, and it was kind of a struggle. And so I was kind of, when I decided to do this no line, I was like, girl, what are you doing? Like, do you really even want to do this? Like, to film it for a video? Like, do you just want, like, I was very ready to, like, not have a good time. I have not had this much fun making a card in a long time. Now, coloring has always been one of my favorite, like, card making techniques. I've always really, really enjoyed it. But the downside is it takes a lot of time, so I don't always have the time to put into it. So I miss it. I filmed this over Easter weekend, so I was off dance. I was like, not much was happening. For the weekend, I hung out with my dad for a little while in the morning, and then I had, like, an entire day to just, like, do whatever. I was feeling pretty good, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna color something, because this is, like, the largest chunk of time I've had with nothing to do in months. So I did, and like I said, I used to have such a hard time with no line coloring, and I was like, hey, I've got the time to like really play, so we can do it in pencils, because I'm a lot more comfortable. I'm a marker girly to start. Like, I learned most of my coloring technique on markers, and I love my Copic markers to death. They're still the thing I reach for the most, but again, mostly just because time is tricky, and markers go a little bit faster. Color pencils take a lot longer. This video itself, like, I have this sped up 6 times. Most of this video, the whole coloring section of this video was sped up 6 times. I think it took me about roughly, I think, if I remember right, I can't look it up right now, but if I remember right, I think I have about 3 hours of footage. So, like, this takes a while. And I also sometimes have to take breaks, because sometimes I tend to have a habit of gripping my pencils too hard, and so sometimes my hand hurts, and I need to take a little break. So, that happens. But yeah, I can just, like, I keep getting off track a little bit, but my point is, I can see, especially in this video, like, how much I have grown in my coloring since, I got really serious about it about 7-8 years ago. So, like, it's crazy that I did this, and I did it, and it wasn't frustrating, it wasn't annoying, like, because previously I would have gotten super annoyed about doing the no line, and I guess part of it also is just, like, I've let go of the need to be perfect a little bit, so I think a lot of things went into it, but I was just feeling like the theme of this video needs to be reminding people, reminding myself even, that you have to practice, that's it, and, you're not going to be good at it right off the bat. It takes a lot of learning. Like, I'm still awful at, like, light sources and things like that. That just doesn't work for my brain, but honestly, I enjoy it so much more if I let that go. And maybe someday I'll get, like, good enough or feel comfortable enough with how I'm doing the coloring to, be able to really focus on that and then start to get that down. But for right now, it's very random. There's no necessarily like direction that the light is coming from. I just add in lights and darks where I feel like they should be. I know basic things like the idea of like these stems are round, so like the sort of you generally kind of work your highlights in for something that's round. So you're gonna start like, so I did my darkest green around the outside, around the edges of the stem, and then I just kind of work in to get to the highlights. I also never do like white highlights for anything. I always just use whatever my like lightest color is. I don't ever go all the way to white, except on these flowers, because these flowers are supposed to be white. So, and really, honestly, the flowers, like, coloring white is kind of weird, because it's like, how do you color white? That's strange, right? Because your paper is already white. Fun fact, white colored pencils work on white paper. So, even though what I did is I used a lot of light grays on the actual, like, flower petals, and then blended that out with white. And then, because I wanted it to be softer, you have some kind of option. So, like, colored pencil blending, the key is layers. Layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. The more layers you can have, the better. Now, a lot of times, again, time-wise, I just only have time for one or two. This cardstock is also not the best colored pencil cardstock. This is just the Gina K Designs Heavyweight. It works fine. But if you are trying to do something super, super detailed, you want something a little more toothy so that your pencils like really kind of sink into it and you can do more layers and you can get even more blending going on. This was pretty simple though, so it worked fine for what I was trying to do here. And I still did 2 layers of everything, I'm pretty sure. And then I used my white pencil to just go over all of it, which just sort of like mutes the color down a little bit. Because I was going for something softer. So there's so many cool like colored pencil things you can do, and I should really get in the habit of like doing more of them on this channel and like talking about them a little bit more, like doing a little less intricate coloring. Although this, to be fair, I want to start doing this more in the lives. I want to start trying to make more of my coloring projects like into live streams. That being said, I think I promised you by this week that I would have things figured out for May and June, and I simply do not. I simply do not have them figured out. So I don't really know what's gonna happen with lives. Like I said, April, May, and June have become the busiest months for me. So we might just have to play them by ear and see what happens. I don't know what's gonna happen. I was supposed to have a thing on the 11th for May, and then that thing is now possibly not happening, so I'm like, I don't know. And then same thing with June. I have dance stuff that week, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to do the June one. And I was like, I could move it, but also that just feels annoying trying to move it and find a different date for it. So just keep an eye out. I mean, honestly, if there's going to be a live, you'll hear about it. If there's not going to be a live, you'll just see a recorded video, hopefully. I'm trying to get some stuff recorded and ready to have just in case those lives don't happen. So I have to do some filming and all of that in between. But so I was trying to do my greeting here, and this is a die from Lawn Fawn, and I thought I wanted to use it because I wanted to turn it into a birthday card because I just need a bunch of them. And I ended up not liking it. The first time it didn't die cut very good, so then I fixed it on my intracut so that it would die cut better, and then I got a good die cut one and decided I didn't like it, and I was like, gonna change my mind here. Then I thought there's this little happy birthday stamp from the stamp set that I was going to use, and then I was like, no, that's too small because this is a clean and simple card and I didn't want the greeting to get lost. So I was trying to figure out, I just grabbed my dies and I was like, okay, I'm pretty sure I want to do a die. I could have gotten up and like looked for a stamp set too, but I was too lazy that day to do that, honestly. So I grabbed my dies and I was flipping through them, trying to pick one, and I went with one. I tried out a couple here because I kind of wanted something scripty like that, like even though that wasn't the die that I started with, right? Like I had a not scripty font, I don't know what you would call that, a not scripty font die originally, But I wanted this a scripty font when I was making this card in my brain, and didn't have that, so I was going to use the other one. I didn't like it. So I have this one from Spellbinders. This one is also retired. I'm pretty sure. Well, you'll know because I'll note it in the description below, but I'm pretty sure it's retired. I've had this one for a long time. And it is a old Spellbinders die set, and I use this Happy Birthday all of the time. All of the time. Like, there's other greetings in the set, but by far that Happy Birthday one gets the workout. Pretty much if I want a birthday card and I don't know what to put it on, then this is the die I reach for. Like, that's how this goes. Okay, here's a funny story. So I actually filmed this video before I filmed last week's video. I posted them in the opposite order I filmed them, which I don't usually do. I usually like to film things in order, but it's just the way it worked out. And remember last week when my glue like freaked out, and I was like, yeah, I don't know why it freaked out because I just used it, so it should have been fine. This is what I just used it on, so I don't know why it freaked out last week, but it did, and it's fine. But yeah, so like that's this card. That's it. I mean, I literally just colored the image and then stuck a sentiment on it. That's sometimes all you need to do. And I've shown this card to a few people, and almost all of them have been like, it's so pretty, I love it. And like, so like that's all you need sometimes. They don't always have to be super crazy complicated, a million layers. Sometimes it can just be something very, very simple. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. I'll see you again soon, and have a crafty day.